Once again, hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us inside the Sister Sense Back to Business Fire and Focus webinar conference. We are having an amazing time. We've had some morning sessions, afternoon sessions, yesterday sessions, today's sessions, really focused on getting you where you need to be to fast track your business growth online this year. So I'm excited because I get to introduce to you the one, the only Abiola Abrams. Really excited because I had the opportunity to meet Abiola in person last year in New York. And you know what? There's nothing like creating powerful connections online, but when you meet offline, when you meet offline and you see the bombshell that she is, it's just a wonderful, wonderful experience. So today she's going to talk to you all about your spirit entrepreneurs out there, about your spiritual business success principles, how you can take your business forward. I can't say enough about her. I think she's absolutely amazing, living in her purpose, genuine, awesome, beautiful spirit, and I'm so excited to have you here. So Abiola, thank you for joining us. I'm going to mute myself now so I can be quiet and take in all of your fabulous, awesome bombshell, sacred bombshell goodness.
Yes! Yay! Well, first of all, I just want to just give all love to you, Ms. LaShonda, and your incredible tribe and this wonderful group of women that you've assembled. I agree with April. I see a lot of my peoples in here. Kim, we were supposed to hang out last year after her comedy thing, and I missed it when she just got married. I see April. I see a lot of, I see beautiful, happy black woman doing her thing, and I hear that you're going to be at her conference this weekend. And we had a chance to meet up at Lucinda Cross's event. So if you all are unfamiliar with Lucinda, you definitely want to follow her and get in your queue and get as many empowering, inspirational women as you can all up in your vibe. I will be speaking this weekend actually at the Chicago Ideas Week. If any of you are out there, come and check me out. And so I'm going to begin. We are talking about the spiritual business principles. My last book was The Sacred Bombshell Handbook of Self-Love. And in response to my tribe, because any good coach is simultaneously guiding and also receptive to her tribe and to what they need, that we are taking self-love to self-launch. So my next book is the Sacred Bombshell Business Bible, which will also have a workbook with it about the Spritpreneur success mantras. So a little bit of quick background on me and quick definitions, and then let's jump into it, just so that you have a framework of okay, if you're who is this chick I'm talking to, or if we're re-meeting each other after we've both evolved a bit. So my name is Abiola Abrams. I consider myself to be a self-worth midwife, or the midwife for your inspired life. And all that means is that I am a transformational speaker, coach, author, advice columnist, all in the service of helping us to step into our greatness, stop playing small, and get the bleep out of our own way. Because 9 times out of 10, when something is blocking our path to the sacred success and abundance that is our birthright, it's us. We are the only ones who stand in our way. Raise your hand wherever you are right now if you know that you have been sabotaging your own success. Yes. And so I'm excited that LaShonda thought to include me in this powerful conversation, because if you don't have the self-worth piece right, if you don't have that feeling of I am worthy, I am enough, I deserve to be successful, I deserve to be able to find my voice and put it out there into the world, I deserve to answer my calling. If you don't have that piece right, then you are literally building on a house of cards. And so what I do is that I coach women both one-on-one and with my classes and courses and groups and speeches to be able to answer their calling, to find their voice, and to be able to build something that they love around it. So we're going to get into that a little bit later, but I want to just jump into the principles. We're going to get into, I don't know how many we'll get to today, but I have 40 Spritpreneur success mantras, and we'll go through each one and talk about what it means in terms of your business and your career and your success. And the great thing about us having this conversation is that I can talk to you about SEO in detail. I can talk to you about all of the technical things, but what I provide is soul care, skills, and strategy. So the soul care piece is what we are getting into today. So the first one is, I'm going to introduce each one with an affirmation, is my success is only limited by my imagination. And so why I start off with that is that you need to be able to go there in your mind's eye if you are going to go there in your body. And you leave grace and space, for even greater things. I always say this or something greater for the good of all involved, because we can't necessarily see everything and see the whole picture. This is really important because a lot of us have personal challenges that while you're trying to run your business and you're dealing with grief. I was just talking to a woman, trying to run her business and, lost her partner. You could be dealing with grief from a divorce or, losing a job or a big client or, the death of a loved one or whatever it is. And we still have to go on and we still have to function. And so if you are at a place where there are maybe some mental health things that you need to take care of, real talk, sister to sister on this line, take care of them. Go and take care of the foundational stuff first, because your success is only limited by your imagination, and you cannot go where you need to go to dream the biggest dream for yourself if you're down in the muck, if you're down in, the day-to-day, junk. The day-to-day is going to happen, and there's always going to be stuff. But the difference is that when you are firmly rooted in, again, your enoughness, then you can deal with the winds that blow right and left. And so I'll give you a very concrete example of how this works, how I use visualization. And I'm a big fan of guided visualization, guided meditation. I have 2 meditation albums. I have affirmation cards because these tools are important. When you meet positive and bubbly people like LaShonda, like April, like Kim, like the other women, who are on this call, a lot of people feel like, oh, well, it's easy for them. They have it easy because they're A, B, C, and D or whatever. But we all work at it. You have to feed yourself just like you would feed yourself, with on a steady stream of, negativity or whatever it is. You have to feed yourself with a positive stream of positive things, and realize that it's like bathing. You got to keep at it. So, for example, as I said, I'm speaking this weekend in Chicago, and I'm really, really excited about it. I love going around the country and speaking to people about, their self-determination. But like all of us, I get nervous. And then behind that, I have anxiety challenges that I had when I was younger. And so less so now, less and less so now. But I still know that I need to nurture and take care of myself. I still know that when I'm at a big conference that I have to take time for myself just to make sure that I am okay and that, I'm not getting unnecessarily anxious. And to remember that, with your success being only limited by your imagination, with your eyes being on the prize, you know that your vision and your purpose are bigger than you are. That's why it's really important to have, your passion, your purpose, your pleasure, all of those things clear, because then when you're getting on a stage or whatever you're doing, it's not just you by yourself. You're coming, what? It's like, Dr. Maya Angelou said, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. I am coming as Abiola, but I am standing with my mission and my message, that I'm here to put forward into the world. And so one of the things that I do is I just do a quick visualization of seeing myself up on stage and successfully broadcasting the message that I came to broadcast. I see myself afterward, the day after, here just being grateful and gracious and happy that it all went well. So that is a really important one. Your success is only limited by your imagination. All right, so number 2 that I'm going to offer today is I love being paid well for the work that I do. Let me get an amen if that is if that rings a bell for you where you are. Yes, we love getting paid well for the work we do. Now, this one is a really important one for the tribe of women that I work with. I said I was going to get into some definitions. Well, a sacred bombshell, I have reclaimed the word sacred bombshell to mean a woman who loves, honors, and cherishes herself in mind, body, and spirit. And now we are used to hearing those words love, honor, and cherish when it comes to marriage and our significant other and how they feel about us. But I'm using those words first as a foundation for how we feel about us, so that you are then able to attract the things into your life that you deserve because you love, honor, and cherish you. A spiritpreneur, as I mean it, I came up with this, coined the term, just to mean a soul-based, spirit-based, heart-based entrepreneur, which is often in my specific tribe, the women that I coach, a coach, a healer, a speaker, a guru, a creative entrepreneur, someone who is answering their calling with what they do. Now, there are other kinds of entrepreneurs, and there's no judgment around any of it. My uncle, who is an exterminator, has a successful, prosperous business that does well for him and his family, but he would not consider himself to be a spiritpreneur because he is doing something that for him is just more about survival mode than answering a calling. So that's the difference. So now the mantra we are dealing with again is, I love being paid well for the work I do. And you can repeat these affirmations, into your mirror or in your journal, first thing when you wake up or before you go to sleep at night. The reason why I say this is such an important one for us as a tribe, all of us who are on this call, who are, a power circle of women in this back to business, fire and focus conversation, who are doing, in many forms the work that we came to do. This is important because when you know that you are worthy of abundance and worthy of being compensated well for the work that you do, then you're not afraid to ask for the rates that you deserve. You're not afraid to raise your rate when your practice expands. You're not afraid to fire a client who, is maybe not the best for you and for where you are, because you have faith that with what you're putting into the world, that more is going to come. And so the idea of being paid well for the work that we do is very, very controversial when it comes to soul-based, spirit-based, heart-based entrepreneurship, because a lot of people feel like, with what we're doing, coaching, all aspects of it, from life coaching to business coaching, is an extension of, some sort of community care, that back in the days, my family, I like to say I'm a fourth-generation empowerment specialist. My great-grandmother was a midwife. My family on both sides were farmers. My father is a minister and a journalist. My mother was a teacher. And so in a lot of those communities, creative communities, caring communities, where it's not a brass tacks business, where like my uncle, who I said is an exterminator or whatever, it feels like things are more negotiable. And with my grandmother, who was a midwife and a woman's fertility healer back in the day, people would pay her in eggs or whatever it was. So the community took care of her. So it might have looked like, okay, those kinds of caring people in the community, weren't about the money. And you could be about your vision, about your mission, and all of those things, and still step firmly into your abundance and embrace it and be like, no, I love the work that I do and I deserve to be well compensated for it. And then have the feeling of, whatever rate you would ask for, and I got into the habit of doing this a couple of years ago, double it. I would even say triple it, like one of my mentors told me, but I don't want to scare you off the call. Whatever rate you would ask for, double it, because a lot of us have those issues where we're coming to the ocean with a thimble waiting to be filled up, rather than realizing that it is all your birthright, okay? So you deserve to be paid well. You deserve to be compensated well, because what you're putting into this world, I know it from you just being a part of LaShonda's tribe, and my tribe too, because I'm adopting you now. I just know that what you are doing, you deserve all of the grace in the world to be well compensated for it, and that there is no shame, even though we grew up with a lot of those, kind of falsehoods of like, money is the root of all evil, and, money doesn't grow on trees, and all of those things that a lot of us heard growing up that were not entirely factual, that give us a poverty mindset instead of an abundance mindset. And I want you, when you're building your business and taking things to the next level, to have an abundance mindset and to realize that you choose your clients. Hopefully we'll get into that a little bit later. Okay, so the next one, my life is a miraculous journey, and we're all in this together. This is a really important one, because a lot of us feel like, okay, you can look out into the world. I hear this particularly from my other coaches. I coach coaches, and they say, but it feels like such and such, she's already doing what I'm doing, or everybody's already doing it already, and you feel like somebody took your idea, or it's already been done, and you don't know what to do. Well, here's the thing. We are all in this together, and even though someone may be doing something like you, they will never be you. And that's a good thing, because we need what they're doing and we need what you're doing. So what you want to do is move out of the copycat space and move into the collaborative space. So conferences, for example, like this that LaShonda is doing, this is amazing, and she's put together this conference, which is empowering other women and empowering other people to be able to step into their strengths. And then also it's very brilliant and wise for her as a businesswoman, because it puts her at the hub. And so it brands her. She gets some brand identity and brand equity from all of these wonderful women, and it raises her star, because the fastest way to get what you want is to help other people to get what they want. And so, this is a really powerful lesson for us to realize that we're all in this together. And if you focus just on the thought of competition, which doesn't really exist, you're in competition only with yourself. There are other people in your space, but they are not in your lane unless you are copying from them. When you are authentically yourself and you bring that authenticity to your business, in my coaching programs I call it building your unique guru proposition, your UGP. What is it that you bring to the table, that you offer, that no one else does? And I don't care whether you are, a makeup guru, makeup and beauty guru, or, whatever it is that you do. You bring your whole self to that brand identity. You bring your whole self to what you are creating, your real self, and then you partner with other like-minded people so that you go farther. You go stronger. You go in a more solid way. And it feels good. It feels really good to know that, for example, my sister LaShonda and all of these other wonderful women who are here on this call, that we are in this together. So when I'm looking, and I may have a question about something, or they may have a question about something, we can rely on each other as a tribe, as tribal leaders together who are doing this. So rather than looking over your paper at the next person like, she stole my idea, or she's already doing it, or whatever, focus on you. Focus on your vision. Make your vision more specific. Niche it down. Hone it down. Hone that voice down, and the brighter you will shine. Okay, so the next one is, let me see. I'm going to jump around here. Oh, this is, okay, this falls in with what we're talking about now. When you stop trying to fit the mold, you can focus on being the best possible you. All right, the reason why I wanted to jump to that is because I wanted to talk a little bit more about the unique guru proposition. When you stop trying to fit the mold, you can focus on being the best possible you. So, of course, there are, standards and practices in any field and in the way that you do anything. But you have to be able to, as they used to say, put your stank on it. And so I didn't know this when I was starting out. I thought that, I had to hide certain things about me, that were maybe a little bit different or a little bit weird. Like I said, I am from, a family that has focused on empowerment in many different ways for many different generations, and I thought that I had to do what I call hiding the vitamins in the candy. Well, with what I was doing then was building up the wrong tribe of people. People, if you bring your phony self to, it's like dating. If you bring your phony self to the party, the other people that are attracted to that, or, the man that's going to come up and be like, yeah, this is the person for me, I love what she's doing, when it's not really you, it's going to be the wrong person. And so those are the clients. I attracted a different group of clients than I was interested in serving because I wasn't putting myself out there authentically. When I put myself authentically out there and said, you know what, my work is about feminine power. My work is about standing in your self-worth. My work is about, once you know how worthy you are, you then have the courage and the power to answer your calling, to find your voice, to step into your greatness and create a life and a business that you love. Then the tribe that was magnetized to me were the right people. They are people that I was born to serve. And I then am able to do a better job as a coach, as a guide, as a mentor, as a speaker, because I am not, in a way, trying to fit myself into something just because, somebody else thinks that it fits or I think that it fits. So you want to move away from, a lot of us as women, we're in the space of waiting for permission to be who we are. All right, and I felt that ping and resonate with somebody. We feel like we need permission to shine, permission to create the business that we want. We need people to affirm it for us. And I had that people-pleasing thing for a long time. But you have to realize that, again, put it this way, your birth certificate is the proof that we need what you have. Your birth certificate says this is an original. This is an original right here. And so if I was just trying to, be on the field as, I'm a life coach in general and that's it, well, yeah, goody gumdrop, you and 20 million other people. But when you hone down on who you are and hone down on the tribe that you serve, your ideal client, niching down, you can then better serve them because you're not putting them into, trying to put them in a general place, and you're not coming from a general place. The riches, as they say, are in the niches. In other words, your niche is where you are going to find your success. All right. So then the next one is, I pledge that I will no longer sabotage myself, as it is my duty to live my juiciest life. I'm going to read that one again. I pledge that I will no longer sabotage myself, as it is my duty to live my juiciest life. So what does self-sabotage really look like? It looks like different things to different women. But it all comes back to the same root of feeling somehow not good enough. There's all kinds of self-sabotage. There's a self-sabotage of not being ready yet. I'm not ready yet. Many of us go through that, feeling like you've been working on trying to get your website launched for the past year or 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Maybe you've been, trying to get up the nerve to call this person and interview them or have them interview you or whatever it is, and you're afraid to approach them. Maybe you want to raise your rates and you don't want to do that. Maybe you have a speech plan tomorrow and you show up half-assed and you're not ready. There are all kinds of ways that we sabotage ourselves and we block our own blessings, in terms of our work. But the fastest way to unblock your blessings is to really, really look into that self-sabotage. Look into the ways that you are in your own way. This is what we started the conversation with. Why are you playing small? Now, a big part of it is that we think that if we play a smaller game that we're going to be safer, right? Safety is very important for us as women, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, across the board. But the truth is that, you sabotaging yourself doesn't keep you safe anyway. It may keep you the same. It may keep you in your comfort zone, but it doesn't mean that you are safe because life is in flux. And so that's why you want to ground yourself in some kind of belief, whatever it is, whatever works for you. You want to ground yourself in some kind of a power, some kind of something where you know that no matter what happens on the outside, that you are grounded in something on the inside, because then you have the strength to come from a place of, okay, I no longer need to sabotage myself. I no longer need to make myself small. I no longer need to be afraid to put myself out there. I no longer need to be afraid to fail, succeed, whatever your own personal issue is. And again, there is training for everything. So if you are wanting to be a speaker and you're scared to do that, you can take care of, the brass tacks, the skills part of it. Go and get some speaking training, and then, make sure that you address the inner side of it so that you can then be able to stand confidently and walk boldly into your dreams. Okay? All right, so the next one, it is a radical act of self-love to say yes when you mean yes and to say no when you mean no. I'm going to read that one again. It is a radical act of self-love to say yes when you mean yes and to say no when you mean no. I mentioned before kind of having that people pleaser gene, and it's something we may chuckle about, but wanting to please other people is the fastest road to ruin, especially if you are a woman who is building a business, where as a business owner, you are de facto instantly a tribal leader because you are putting services, you're putting something into the world, where people are going to come and to partake. And so if you are not able to be clear about your yeses and be clear about your nos, which are about boundaries, then you are going to be, quite frankly, a hot mess. You're not going to be able to serve your business, and your business is not going to be able to serve you, because the brighter that your star shines, the higher that your star rises, the more people are going to come at you with all kinds of things, all sorts of things. Some will be good, some will be less good, some will be for you, some will be not for you. And you have to be able to say, whether it's in your personal or your professional life, no thank you when you're not into something, no thank you, and be able to move on, or be able to say, yes, that's what I need, this is what I want, and be able to stand firmly in that and own it. Own it. That's why I say it's a radical act of self-love and self-worth and self-care and self-healing, to be able to have those boundaries so that when people are coming with you with all kinds of BS, like, well, can you come and, speak here or do whatever or blah, 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 and some things will be worth it for you and some things won't, that you are able to stand firmly in yourself, in your power, and be like, okay, I can accurately gauge what is for me and what is not for me and make my decisions from a place of power and a place of strength rather than from a place of weakness. I will give you a couple of examples of this that I remember years ago when I signed my first book contract with Simon & Schuster. I signed it without even barely reading it. I think maybe I read it through kind of, sort of once, maybe, and that's a big maybe. And I felt like, okay, well, wow, they are Simon & Schuster, and I'm just a peon out here. And so, if they are putting this in front of me, then I need to just sign it, because I was afraid that, okay, if I showed it to my lawyer or, and I felt like, well, my agent, she's read it, so it must be whatever. So, but I felt like, okay, if I go to my lawyer wants to renegotiate some things, and they'll drop me, because that's coming from a place of feeling unworthy. feeling not good enough, feeling like, okay, well, I better take what I can get. And so many of us operate, not specifically with that example, but in different ways in our lives, that studies show that a lot of men, in some instances, are getting paid more than we are in certain positions because they negotiate. They see the offer that the people put in front of them as just a jump offer negotiation, when we tend to see it as, okay, well, they're telling me this is how much I would get paid for doing this. And so that's why I say, if someone asks you what your fee is and there's a number that you have in mind, double it or triple it. And tell them, okay, and I know that you're scared, okay, maybe they were going to run away or whatever, but you can just say, I am a supporter of your cause and I would love to work with you. This is what I normally, what my normal fee would be for this. Tell me, are you able to match this? If, for example, it's a nonprofit or whatever, you can have, like I know a publicist, for example, who has nonprofit rates, or you can have certain scholarships for certain groups of people. There was a time where I was offering scholarship coaching to female veterans. So there are certain things that you can do within your service. But again, you being able to feel comfortable with your boundaries as a business owner is key to everything, because otherwise people are going to come to you with the BS. And, they may mean well, but they're looking out for what is best for them. It is important for you, and it is important for your tribe and the work that you were born to do, that you're able to stand in your truth and stand in your glory and stand in your strength. Okay, so let's see. So the next one, this one is important. This is a big one. You have a sacred mission. You have a calling. You were born to roar. So the affirmation for that would be, I have a sacred mission, I have a calling, and I was born to roar. Now, I understand that there are some of us who would prefer to be behind the scenes and some of us who would prefer to be more in front of the scenes. That's fine. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is you having the courage to just put your work out there. I meet so many creative people, because my background is as a writer and is in media, behind the camera and in front of the camera, but people who are working on genius things, amazing things, that they don't feel the courage to just put out into the world. And then when someone else puts it out, look at the TV show Empire. I swear I've heard like 20 people come forward and be like, I'm the one that thought of Empire. Well, maybe you did, but you didn't do it. And so, when God, the universe, whatever word works for you, that all-power knowing source, gave you the idea and you sat on it and you were too afraid to show it to anyone and you didn't want anyone to steal it and you've been working on it for the past 20 years, whatever it is, and the idea was meant to be born and it was passed on to someone else who then had, the cojones, the resources, however you want to look at it, to put it out into the world, well, that was on you. That was on you. And so the same thing when, whatever idea it is, there was a woman I saw on, I watch a lot of like CNBC business stuff and that sort of thing. There was a woman who was talking about she came up with the idea for Thanks First. She had that idea, but she had never told anyone. Sarah Blakely is online to be one of the first like self-made billionaires, self-made women billionaires. And so she's like, well, I came up with the idea, but you didn't put it out there. So when you look at things and you go, oh, I could have done that, but you didn't. You were basically ignoring your calling. And each and every one of us has a sacred mission, has a calling, and was born to roar with whatever they do. So some people that means being an amazing parent. My mom, such a good mother that I know her calling, was to raise us and be an amazing mom. But she's also a writer. She used to write for me sequels of fairy tales when I would say, but Mom, then what happened next? And she would write the stories, and she's an amazing poet. If she doesn't do the work that she came to do, that is a travesty. If you don't do the work that you came to do, that is a travesty. Imagine all of your favorite books, TV shows, works, whatever they are. This coaching forum, if LaShonda didn't create this platform, that would be a travesty that we wouldn't get to have this dialogue. So whatever it is, whatever you are dreaming that you can do, begin it. That stirring inside you, that voice inside you that says, I want to do this, there's something that I need to do, look at that as your calling. Look at that as your purpose. You may need to refine it and work on it and hone it and all of those things, but you have to begin it. Think of it as your sacred mission, your calling, and your way of roaring with whatever it is. And then you can shine. And then you can shine, all right? And then, let me correct that. And then you will shine. All right, so the next one. Let's see. All right, let's go with this one. And these are mantras actually that the ones that I'm sharing and expounding on are from the Spritpreneur, the upcoming Spritpreneur Success Mantras. Okay, so this is a really good one. You are a fierce warrior, a sage and strong, sacred bombshell, and the only one who can reject you is you. So the affirmation from that is, the only person who can reject me is me. This is a big one because fear of rejection, I think, is at the source of what holds a lot of us back. You know, it doesn't feel good to get rejected. It doesn't feel good for someone to say, okay, you're not good enough, or this isn't good enough. But the truth is that many of us reject ourselves before we even get to the playing field. We do. We do it to ourselves. I had the experience a few years ago where the people from the Bethany show, they called me up and they were like, you know, the producer worked with me. I do a lot of TV, and the producer worked with me on something else. Can't remember if it was for MTV or Discovery Channel, but was like, Abiola, send me your stuff so I can bring it in. I want to bring you in to this new Bethany Frankel show, and I think that you would be perfect. I would love for you to come in on this. And you know what I said? In all of my wisdom as, you know, a Spritpreneur coach and et cetera, author of the Sacred Bombshell Handbook of Self-Love, I said, I'm not ready yet. I said the equivalent of that. I said, you know what, I'm finishing my book, which was the last book that I wrote, and I said that's how I want to present myself. I felt like my branding wasn't as strong in the way that I wanted to be able to present myself on national TV. I felt like my branding was still stuck in another place because, like all of us, you know, our work evolves, that my branding for a long time was in the love, dating, and relationships realm, and out of that it naturally grew into self-worth and self-love, and from there has grown into self-launch and self-actualization. And so I felt like it was really important for me to have this new book done that was going to very clearly state who I was and be a part of my platform. Having your platform is really, really important. So is also knowing that the only person who can reject you is you. And so what I did in that instance was reject myself. So I said to the producer, I said, I will contact you when my book is done. So when the book was finally finished and it won an African American Literary Award for Best Self-Help, now I felt good enough. Now I felt worthy because I had an accolade. I had something to show, or so I thought. So I contacted the producer and I was like, here I am. I'm ready. Here it is. Let's do it. And she said, Abiola, oh my gosh. She said, you know what? The show was just canceled. She said, we still have a season of episodes that we're going to be airing, but we're not going to really be taping anything new that's not already in queue. And so, again, we do that all the time in different ways. We reject ourselves. The call comes in to go to that conference. That email comes that says, this would be great for us. We see that new certification that we should take. We know that revamping our website or not having an opt-in, a free gift that would attract our perfect tribe. We've known that we needed to get that done for X amount of time, and we haven't done that. These are all of the ways that we reject ourselves from the game. The way to play a stronger game is to really, baby yourself, love up on yourself, and also mama bear yourself and know that, wait a minute, I'm a fierce warrior. The only person who can reject me is me. And put yourself out there with the work that you came to do. Are you noticing a theme here? Yeah, so that rejection, though, it's a primal wound, for many of us. We have abandonment issues. We have all kinds of issues and fears of not being good enough. And so we hear and feel that echoed when there is rejection. But guess what? If you are doing any kind of sales, and if you are in business, you are in sales, no matter what you are doing, then you are going to get rejected. Everybody's not going to be into what you're offering, and that's okay. Every no brings you closer to a yes. And so, again, you want your perfect and ideal clients to come to you. And so that's going to take rejection on your part and rejection on their part as well. But ultimately, if you know that every day in every way things are working out for you, ultimately everything is working out for you, then the only one who can reject you is you. And so then you're not as afraid to ask for the sale, to put yourself out there, to approach the offers that come your way, to answer the calling and take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to you. Got it? Okay, good. All right, so here is another one. All right, this is a good one. This one is brief because I've touched on this already. This is the time to build your big vision. The world is waiting. If you don't do it, you're cheating us. All right, I already specified that. I don't think I need to go into that anymore. If you don't do it, you are cheating us. All right, this is an important one. You don't have to burn through your days and be miserable. Even be present in the things that you think suck. This is what I call bliss power and blisscipline. That a lot of us, there are a lot of really, really miserable people that are trying to create lives and businesses that are supposed to inspire and uplift people. And so if you at your source are miserable and waiting to be happy, waiting till I lose the weight, I'm waiting till I find the man, I'm waiting till I have more money in the bank, I'm waiting till whatever, then what you're going to put out is not going to reflect joy. And I don't care if you are a fashion designer or whatever it is that you're doing. We as people are magnetized and attracted to joy and to things that answer, things that solve something for us. That people don't want to buy programs. Nobody wants to buy another program. I have a new coaching program that is coming out that teaches Spritpreneurs how to create coaching programs, how to create, how to turn their purpose and their mission, purpose and their passion into profit. But people don't want to buy another program. What they want to buy is a solution. That's what we want, right? You knock on your neighbor's house, I like to say, at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're a nuisance. If you knock on the neighbor's house at 3 o'clock in the morning because his house is on fire and you're letting him know, you're offering a solution. If you knock on your neighbor's house at 3 o'clock in the morning and you are bringing him a gift and you're like, have something to offer, that is relevant, you're part of the solution, not part of the problem. And so rather than putting whatever you're putting into the world from a place of misery, try to come from a place of joy, because I can guarantee you, if you speak to anyone that you think has made it and they look back, oh my gosh, last year I remember I was watching something with Oprah Winfrey and Barbara Walters, two of my mentors, two women I think are just amazing that I've idolized, for a very long time. And they were talking about the past 25 years, 30 years of building their businesses, and they both said, I wish I would have had more fun. Oh, my gosh, that was such a wake-up call for me. Like, what? You didn't have fun? Like, you two didn't enjoy the journey of what you were doing? So that means it is imperative of us right now to enjoy the moment instead of burning through your days being miserable and waiting, for something else to be happy, waiting for permission to be happy. Find the joy in the journey. Find the joy in writing the sales page. Find the joy in setting up the opt-in. Find the joy, in all of the little things that you would think, okay, I'm just trying to get from A to B. Because that A to B is your life, and you're missing it if you are just thinking, okay, I just want to just get through this. It's your life. It literally is your life. And you cannot be miserable, from 9 to 5 or 9 to 7 or 9 to 10 or whatever hours that you work, and then be joyous in the rest of your life, because it's going to bleed through. It's all your life. Okay, so here's another one. Gratitude helps you choose to live as if everything is a miracle. This is a really important one, and it piggybacks on what I was just saying, the importance of gratitude in setting up your business. Now, this can be as simple as, a lot of us, one of the biggest questions that I get from women is how to build a following, because I teach in my Become the Guru Bootcamp and upcoming Spritpreneur Academy about, building your tribe, building your sacred tribe. And we get so focused on people want more followers. I want more followers. Well, how are you treating the tribe that you already have? Because it's like if I have guests in my living room, I have people in my house, and I'm looking out the front door to see who's there. Ever been talking to somebody at a party and feel like they're looking over their shoulder to see if somebody better was coming along? Well, you want to make sure that you are not treating your customers, your clients in that way. You want to make sure that gratitude that you feel for every part of life is trickling down to the people that you already have. And so that means the people on your mailing list, the people who follow you on social media, the people who, are your past clients. Your past clients, referrals are the biggest source of business for in most industries. And so you really, really want to show gratitude for who you have, because just like anything else in life, I like to say that how you do anything is how you do everything. Until you're grateful for what you have, you will never have more. And if you do have more, you're not going to appreciate it, and you're going to find some way to sabotage yourself out of it. And so I don't care if you have 20 people on your Facebook page. Be engaged with them, be, in respect and high regard for them, be a source of information and service for them. What we are all doing, we are in service. And so figure out, what can I do for you? How can I serve you? Rather than looking over your shoulder to see who else is coming down the pike. And the same with your mailing list. Don't just think of in terms of numbers. Oh, well, I only have, X thousand people on my mailing list and such has this one or that one. It's easy to compare. But the thing is that it's not a monolith of, say you have 5,000 people. It's not a monolith of, I've got 5,000 people on my mailing list. Each and every one of those people is a specific individual human being. So from time to time, you want to check in with them specifically to find out what it is that they need. How can you be of service? What did you, and with your last program or whatever it is, where were the holes? What could you be doing better? And that, again, comes from a place of gratitude, of being grateful. It's very, very important, very important. One of the new projects that I'm excited about doing is that I'm launching these self-care kits, because I noticed that a lot of us just don't know how to give ourselves basic self-care. We just don't. We think that self-care is running to get a mani-pedi or getting your hair done or something like that. But it's deeper than that. Self-care requires you taking care of yourself, mind, body, and spirit. And so, again, if that's therapy, get you some. But it's also eating well so that you have the energy to do what it is that you came to do, sleeping well spending time with other people, not falling into workaholic zone, which I am so guilty of, and I'm a New Yorker, so it's one of the sanctioned addictions that we get approval from in our culture, the busyness, but a lot of that is unhealthy, and so make sure that you find balance. I feel like is a myth. I say strive more for harmony. Because when you say balance, it's like, okay, are you going to really spend this amount of time playing, this amount of time working? I happen to love what I do. So for me, a lot of it feels to me like play. So I enjoy it. So I say instead of balance, strive for harmony and come from gratitude with every single thing. This one took me a long time to get. There was a time where I couldn't even accept a compliment if someone was like, hey, I love your book or I love your whatever it is, because I felt like, oh, well, but I'm not where I want to be yet. So I couldn't stand in the gratitude of that space because, again, I had issues of what? Self-worth. I felt like, okay, well, yeah, but my inner dialogue was something like, Abiola, that's a great book. My inner dialogue's like, yeah, but it's only one book. And if you do that, you will literally rip yourself to shreds, and you're not going to have the strength to stand on when life throws you those crazy curveballs, which it will, because that is the nature of life. But you've got to be able to have that solid foundation under you for you and the tribe that you serve, okay? So then the next one, and I'm looking at the time. I'm not sure how long it's supposed to be. So feel free, LaShonda, if I'm running long, to jump in and cut me off. All right. So then
I'm loving your session so far. It's about 5:59, so we're going to get ready for Charvette in a minute. But I'd love for you to continue for a couple more minutes longer. So let's say about maybe 3-4 minutes.
Okay. All right. That is perfect. That's perfect. Thank you. Okay. So then the next one that I'm going to do is my generosity multiplies my wealth. This is counterintuitive because a lot of us feel like, you got to just be in it for self and all of those kinds of things and, whatever it is. But if you are feeling that money is a spiritual principle, and abundance is a spiritual practice. And so if you are feeling stuck in your business in terms of your finances, this is going to sound counterintuitive, but find a way to give, whether it's giving to someone's quick Kickstarter or whatever it is, or maybe you need to give someone on your team a raise. Here's how I look at it. Everything is karmic, so if you are, for example, I have a friend that, a few years ago but someone who had paid for a program, a big well-known program, said to her, here's basically a bootleg copy of this program that I paid for. So she hadn't paid for it. Then she offered me to come in on it with her and watch it and take part in the program. And at first I said yes, but then I just started to feel really dirty about it. And it wasn't something that I felt comfortable doing. And here's why. Because however you deal with somebody else's business is how people are going to deal with yours. And so if you don't want people bootlegging copies of the work that you're putting out there and partaking in it who are not, paying for it or whatever it is, then don't do that to someone else's work, someone else's intellectual property. If you don't want people ripping things off from your site and copying, your mission and your work that you're doing, don't do it to other people. And instead, what you want to come from is from a take attitude, is figure out, a position of generosity. And so then the universe will feel that reciprocity with you and the things that you're doing in your world. And so, again, if you're feeling a little bit stuck, like the money is not, necessarily moving forward, figure out, okay, how can I give? How can I give? Whatever it is. Maybe it is, a 24-hour offer that or whatever it is. I don't know. Figure out a way to be able to give, a way to give back. Generosity multiplies your wealth. Generosity multiplies your wealth. It's very, very important. Okay, and then this is a really great one. Life is easier when you can laugh at yourself. Now, you may feel like, well, how is that a spiritual business principle? If you can't laugh at yourself, you're not going to feel comfortable being authentic. If you can't feel comfortable being authentic, if you are a brand that is built, if it's a brand that's built around you, then people are not going to relate to you. Because if you're trying to put yourself out there as, perfect or as something that you're not, people are savvy. People are really, really smart. And so they're going to see right through that, and maybe they're just going to feel like something is off with you and they don't know why, and they're just not going to be feeling it, whatever you're into. And so this is, again, why you want to be able to build an authentic brand. So being able to laugh at yourself, with all of your foibles and all of the things that, that you bring to the table, and all of the things that are amazing about you and all the things that are funny about you, if you're not able to have that sense of humor about yourself, then you're not going to be able to stand in your authenticity. And if you can't, then you're not going to be able to be an incredible tribal leader, which I know you are. How? Because, again, you are on this call and you are on this conference. And so, like I like to say, love thyself to rock thy life. Say that one more time. Love thyself to rock thy life. Because we may not have a choice in everything that happens to us, but we always choose how we respond, how we rebound, and how we move forward. So, again, love thyself to rock thy life. And so as we close, I just wanted to just go into some of the reasons why we play small and some of the ways that we can get out of it. So we touched earlier on, why it is that we play small and the reason why we do that. Here are the ways that we can get ourselves out of it. So one of the ways is to remove the victim-colored glasses. If you're seeing your life through victim-colored glasses, which a lot of us do, I was in that space for a long time, then you're forgetting that you have choices. You're not making decisions because you think you don't have a right to make choices. You see yourself as a victim of your whole drama rather than seeing yourself as the star and the heroine of your life. You're holding yourself back. Now, a lot of us have righteous rage, and a lot of us have, righteous feelings of victimization. I know particularly me, as a woman of color, as an African-American daughter of immigrants, as the first person in my family born in America, as a black woman, there is a lot that I have righteous rage around. However, I cannot go through my life seeing myself as a victim. I have to go through life seeing myself as taking responsibility. I take full responsibility for every single thing in my life because that puts me at the place of power rather than being at the whim of someone else and the whims of chance. Okay? Another thing, act as if. This is a totally different energy than fake it till you make it. And act as if when people say to me, well, what should I wear? I say, dress the way you want to be treated. And whatever that means for you. That can mean anything, whatever that means. And so dress, speak, and live as if you are who you want to be. Get your updated vision of yourself into your bones. Put on your new story. Wear it, live it, be it. Again, this is different than faking it until you make it. I don't want you to fake anything. I want you to, instead of walking through somebody else's story of you, to rewrite, reinvent yourself, and step into your greatness. However you present yourself to the world, people will take you and say, okay, this is who she is. And so if you present yourself and you say, I am a transformational coach. Okay, that's who she said she was. We're going to take you at face value. So rather than tiptoeing and waiting for things to be right and whatever it is, get it together, put yourself out there, and own it. Another one I say is risk. Risk failing greatly. Become comfortable with failure. I'm not telling you to stop playing small because you're going to run out there and never fail. Sometimes you're going to fail. If risk takers were not comfortable with failure, then we wouldn't have the magnificent inventions or songs that we have or whatever it is. You have to be able to risk that failure. And as I said earlier, the rejection. This one is really key. Eliminate negative self-talk. Oh, my gosh, for us as women, that inner bully voice that I was talking about earlier that said, yeah, but you only have $1. She's got 3. It's like, stop ripping yourself to shreds. You know, that's why I use affirmations so much in my work. I want you to know that, you know, all these horrible things that we say to each other, we wouldn't say to a stranger. And you may think that you're not listening, but there is this tape inside this unconscious mind, like a radio that keeps on going even when you turn the volume down. So for today, decide to think one less negative thing about yourself, micro steps. Do it all with little steps, one step at a time, one brick at a time. That's how you build a bridge. Choose a playing big, because I talk about playing small, I'm talking about playing big. Choose a playing big role model, and you have plenty to choose from on the amazing women on this conference. That you want to have a role model, a mentor. That person doesn't even have to know that they are your mentor. I've had so many mentors that didn't even know that I was their mentor, but I was learning from them. I was studying them. I was reading their autobiography. I was taking their courses or whatever it is. And so you want to continue to fill yourself up by people who are doing the things that you want to do or have the knowledge that you want to have. Another thing that you should do is tell your loved ones that you are ready to lift off, ready to shine, whatever it is. You know, usually I'm a fan of keeping your goals between you and the Creator and the people who will support you. And I usually say resist sharing your plans with the non-visionary people until they come into form. But if one of the things that is holding you back is a fear of outshining your tribe, which a lot of us as women have, fear of who does she think she is, fear of what your family's going to think, fear of, you know, a lot of women I learned recently have a fear of out-earning their fathers, for example. You need to just go to your family members either all together or one-on-one and be like, here's what I'm going to do. Be like, hey, you know, I've decided that I'm going to stop playing small. They're probably going to look at you like you're crazy, but it's okay. I've decided I'm going to stop playing small. I'm going to outshine everything I've ever done. Will you still love me? And chances are they're going to say yes. And then you just know you have one less little mental barrier. This for non-people pleasing people is going to sound crazy, but my people pleasing people, we know. So that may be helpful for you.
That's me. That's me.
Yes.
I can say I'm definitely one of those people who like to please other people, but I've learned in the process that, you know, when you tell people, you try to declare who you are and your greatness, it's not about being cocky. It's about that confidence factor, right? So I love that, putting yourself out there and letting your people know, look, this is what I'm going to do, this is where I am, and being okay to say I'm going to outshine everybody. I wanted to jump in here because I know that we've got to transition over to the next session, but I do want everybody to know what you're working on and how they can continue this conversation with you about the Spritpreneur, really understanding spiritual business success principles, because, oh my goodness, you have a wealth of information, and I believe that the affirmations, the positivity, the clear mindset shifts that go on in the process that you're talking about are absolutely essential, because if you can't do this, you can't move forward. So I'm going to stop for a second. I want to let them know how they can stay connected to you.
Yes. Thank you so much, LaShonda, for, inviting me to be a part of this incredible conference. I have 2 gifts, actually, for your tribe. First of all, they can find me at sacredbombshell.com and throughout social media at Abiola TV, where the TV stands for transformation and victory. And so the first gift, really easy, just go to Own Your Bombshell, which is own your greatness, really, but go to ownyourbombshell.com. And you'll see my free self-worth kit there. That's all kinds of goodies, Spritpreneur Success Guide, etc., that you can choose from. Ownyourbombshell.com. And then the second gift is I have a free class, a success training for women Spritpreneurs on how to go from passion to your very own popular programs and products in 5 easy steps. And it's a free Spritpreneur web class. And so you can sign up for that if you go to tinyurl.com/Abiola free class. And so that's TINY, tiny, URL.com/Abiola free class, tinyurl.com/Abiola free class. And what you're going to learn in this class is, how to, first of all, determine and refine your sacred business goals, because you're not going to, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And you're going to learn how to then turn your purpose into information products and programs. So, like, for example, like I said, I have books and meditation albums and affirmation cards in addition to coaching programs. I'm going to tell you how to do that. I'm going to tell you how to create things that create passive income and how to define your ideal client's most urgent problem and urgent need, because like I said earlier, nobody wants to buy another program or product. They want to buy a solution. And so I'm going to talk to you about how to get that and how to do fast product creation and how to appropriately name your, my Power Goddess title creation tips. So we're taking self-love to self-launch. So you want to go to tinyurl.com/Abiola free class and register for this free business training of how to go from passion to your own popular programs and products. And this training is just for women spiritpreneurs, and I define that as soul-based coaches, goddess light workers, earth angels, healers, creative geniuses, and sacred bombshell entrepreneurs.
I love it. I love it. I am always blessed when I'm in the Power Circle with these amazing entrepreneurs. Ladies, I'm sure you're writing. You've got all these different ideas. You're engaging. I want to say thank you once again, Abiola, for being here with us, sharing your sacred bombshell awesomeness with our community. I definitely want to make sure that I have you back here inside the Power Circle. So thank you. Ladies, continue to follow Abiola, continue to have this conversation in our Facebook group, and we're going to rock on to our next Power Circle. So thank you, Abiola. Thank you for being with us today.